Hello friends. So now we are going to talk about calculative index. It is the fifth part in the series, and it's a very interesting topic. Personally, I like it a lot, and I just want to put it out there because there is this thing about calculative index, which is the central topic in all of physics, mathematics, life sciences in general. Like you might have heard of central theorem, central limit theorem, something like that, very similar to it. So there is this phenomena of calculations, and I want to specify as solidly as I can that how it impacts the world around us. So let me get into the video. Let me just just kind of get into the feel of it. And now the basic idea is that when we actually do a calculation in our head, say there is a calculation to be done which is n into n, or there is m into n, as in there is a m digit number and then there is a n digit number, and we need to randomly multiply it. We need to multiply it, and these are random digits. These are random m digits and these are random n digits. So is there a way to do this calculation? And the claim is that if you can do something known as m into n digit calculation, then what you will attract in form of resources is 10 raised to the power m n divided by 2. Now this formula itself is little bit weird, and you might be like, where does it come from? And I'll give a proof to it afterwards. But what I'm trying to say is, say you can do an n into n digit calculation. Say there is a person, there is a baby, and he can do 1 into 1 digit calculation. How many resources can he attract? He can attract resources like he can get 10 rupees from somebody, 20 rupees from somebody, 30 rupees from somebody. But can he get above 100 rupees? It's a question mark, right? A baby cannot get above 100 rupees from anywhere because he can only do 1 into 1 calculation. So he will only attract 10 raised to the power 1 resources. The order of resources that he can attract is 10 raised to the power 1. Now, if somebody can do 2 into 2 calculations, say somebody with a higher education, somebody who is in class 8th, 9th or 12th or something like that, they can do a random 2 digit into 2 digit calculation. In their brain, I'm talking about, in their head. I'm not talking about pen, paper and all these stuff. So they can only do 2 into 2 calculation in their head. So basically what I'm trying to say is, if you can do 2 into 2 calculation, the amount of resources that you will attract is 10 raised to the power 2. And this is known as the calculative index. So that is what I'm trying to say, that all machines have a higher capacity to which calculation they can do, and that is the amount of resources these machines can attract. Like if there is a supercomputer in America which can do 10 raised to power 16 calculation, then they will attract 10 raised to power 16 resources, which is just like something called hundreds of trillions of dollars, which is approximately the economy of America, give or take. I know it's $5 trillion, but you get the gist. I'm talking about the order and not the exact calculation, right? So I am saying that if you can do 10 raised to the power 2 calculation, you will attract resources which are 10 raised to the power 2 or somewhere around that order, right? So now the point that I'm trying to make here is, a student who can do this kind of thing, who can attract in hundreds of resources, you might have seen that most of the kids in class 9, 10th and 11th, 12th, they can do a random 2 into 2 calculation. They can attract resources like 100 rupees, 200 rupees, 300 rupees. They can get it from some person. They almost can earn it in some way because of their personalities and all. They get this kind of pocket money like 100 rupees, 200 rupees till 1000, but they cannot get more than 1000. Now if somebody can do, say, a random 3 into 3 into 3 calculation, now it's a big calculation, like a random 3 digit number into 3 digit number into 3 digit number. But what does it imply that if somebody can do it, what will he be at? 10 raised to the power 9-aire, as in a billionaire, right? So this is what I'm saying, that higher calculations that you can do in brain, the more resources you can attract, right? Whether you like it or not, it's just the law of nature. Now you might be like, where does it come from? Where does this rule come from? And it comes from intuition, because if somebody can say multiply an infinite into infinite number randomly in their brain, how powerful their brain will be. It will be extremely, extremely powerful, right? And that is the whole crux of the thing, that they will attract all the resources in the world. They don't need to do anything, because they can do this higher calculation in their head. And this is the point that I'm trying to make, it this is something that you do subconsciously. It cannot be improved upon, it cannot be taught, it cannot be done this, that, and the other. It's just an observation, it's an empirical observation. It's based on data. You cannot change the data, right? You cannot just one day say, okay, I'll learn infinite into infinite calculation, because it's not possible, right? So what you can do as a calculation, that is what resources you are attracting, whether you like it or not. It just happens subconsciously. People know how higher calculations you can do. It's just the nature of the beast, that you can say, that they already know what kind of calculations you can do, and that's the type of resources that you attract. So that is the crux of the situation, that a machine can do finite calculations, but a human brain can actually do infinite into infinite calculation. It is possible, and I'll tell you how exactly you do it. And because I am personally an independent researcher, so I figured out this formula, how you can do an infinite into infinite calculation in your brain. And I'll tell you, it is actually a form of meditative exercise. It's not exactly straightforward. I'll tell you how you can do it. But then you will actually become very, very powerful in types of attracting resources and everything like that. Now the only point that I'm trying to make here is that once you can do it, it becomes very easy. Life becomes very easy. It becomes very simple to understand it. And since machines can only do a finite calculations of n into n order, they can only attract n raised to the power n resources. And the faster the computer a country makes, you see, the more resources it attracts. It's because machine is kind of like a self-aware system, semi-self-aware system. It's somewhat like a human brain. It's very similar to a female brain, basically. It's not exactly similar to a male brain, because a female brain has a discontinuity in it. They can only do finite calculations. A male brain can do infinite calculation. That's why they can attract almost all the resources in the world at one go. Now, I mean, this is just a kind of this is a hint of conspiracy theory also. I mean, if you can understand it, but that's not where I'm leading to, or leading to. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. This was the introduction of calculative index, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope it was enlightening, to say the least. And let's meet you in the next video. Thank you very much.